back to Creative Manifestation. Today I wanted to talk about why I don't feel old with gray hair. The reason I don't is because to me, aging is a state of mind. I know that sounds cliche, but I really feel that way. For example, my grandparents, they seemed old to me, like probably when they were my age. And the reason they did was because they were old-minded in their programming. Like they were kind of stuck in their old ways, in their old programming, and they weren't really expanding and they weren't really growing. Like, at least from my perspective, they were kind of like stuck in this old mentality, and they always seemed old to me. I feel like youth, or not that youth is everything, because that's not what I'm trying to say here. What I'm saying is why I don't feel old with gray hair is because I don't think of myself as an old person. I feel like I'm a youthful person, and I'm always going to be a youthful person. And it's just who I am, regardless of how I look on the outside. And there's a guy, Bert Goldman, he does this thing called quantum jumping, and he would do these visualizations of him quantum jumping into another version of himself. And in doing this process, he became a painter, he became a photographer, learned how to play the piano really well. And he did all of this in his older years of life. And that's kind of how I want to be too. Just always growing and expanding, like into, another version of myself, like that's, always learning, always growing. And that's why I feel like going gray doesn't make me feel old, because it's an inside thing. It's an internal thing. Feeling old it's a state of mind. And I don't really subscribe to these concepts of aging in general, meaning that because I'm a certain age that I am going to be a certain way. And part of it too is like kind of going with the times as well, because think about like a lot of people that are kind of stuck in their ways, and they don't really want to learn anything new. They're not expanding into like the present moment of learning technology, learning, things in the current time, and being open. Really, it's about openness and being willing to learn and expand and grow from the place you are. Because if we're not doing that, that's when we become stagnant. And, when you become old seeming in the world, in my opinion, that's really what it is about. It's staying open to learning, staying open to expanding, staying open to growing, creating, being in a creative space where you are, always creating and trying new things, and going up against like your old story and the old sense of self that you had, to me, is really what it's all about. And that's why I don't feel old with gray hair, and it's not ever going to make me feel old, because I know who I am inside, and I know that I am a person who's constantly trying to learn something new and expand into another version of myself. And that's how I see it. It's not a worse version, it's not less than, it's a new version that is more knowledgeable, that's richer within, that is deeper, that is, all of these amazing things, and it's not a limitation. So I just wanted to share that as a perspective on, going gray, and why it's not going to necessarily make you feel older, because it's all an inside thing. And if you expand on the inside and you're growing and learning and evolving, then you aren't going to feel older with gray hair. So I'll see you in the next video.